I was born with only one functioning kidney. I was what they considered stable for many years. But when I was 25 years old, I went to my yearly checkup with my specialist, and that was when I was told I needed to be evaluated for a kidney transplant. I remember very clearly the day I went on dialysis, and I remember thinking that was my lifeline. This is where the journey to my transplant begins. What I learned was that your choices about what to eat and drink while on dialysis can make a difference in how you feel and can make your treatments work better. It's a very important part of the journey.
The kidneys filter what goes through the body, so having the right set of nutrients is important. For new patients, it can be difficult to know what to do because there's a lot of information coming at you.
When you're on dialysis, you find out there are some foods you just can't eat. Watermelon was always one of my favorites. I couldn't eat it and just had to make the best of it.
When it comes to your diet, I have my top 5 most important things to remember as you think about how to structure your diet during dialysis: phosphates, potassium, protein, salt, and fluids. Number 1 is phosphorus. Phosphorus is in almost everything. Foods that naturally contain high phosphorus levels includes dairy products, bran, brown rice, dried beans and peas, nuts, beer, corn tortillas, and chocolates. Also, there's phosphorus additives in certain foods as well, and that includes baking powders, pancakes, waffles, biscuits, any refrigerated bakery product, processed meats, bottled and canned beverages, as well as frozen and packaged meals. Reading labels before you buy becomes really important when you're on dialysis. Another important thing to remember in a dialysis diet is limiting potassium. This can be more difficult in spring and summer months because of the fresh fruit and some dried fruits we've grown accustomed to eating during these seasons. Also, vegetables like cooked broccoli and spinach, cucumbers and zucchinis, pumpkins and potatoes, and leafy greens are high in potassium.
Something that I had to get used to was planning my meals in advance, but it really is the best way to avoid those foods and drinks with all the potassium, phosphorus, and sodium. When I got stuck, I didn't hesitate to speak with my renal dietitian.
During dialysis, protein is pulled from the blood. So one thing we do encourage is to include protein with every meal and every snack, usually somewhere between 3 to 4 ounces of protein per meal. So some healthy ways to get protein in your diet is with lean cuts of fresh meats. They're typically the best. Fish, fresh pork, and eggs are also good sources of protein. My recommendation is that you limit prepackaged and frozen meats because they can contain other ingredients like sodium and high levels of phosphorus.
I can't stress enough how important it was for me to follow every word from my nutritionist. If they told me to eat something, I did, even if I didn't really like it. And if they recommended against something to eat, I didn't. It was that simple.
One of the most important things to remember is to not add salt to your foods, as it will cause thirst. And the best way to control sodium in your diet is to eat as much fresh foods as possible. That way you can control how much salt is used in preparation. Fresh is always best. Frozen foods next, and canned foods last, because canned foods typically contain the highest salt content. And if you do add salt to your food, shake the salt in your hand first so you see exactly how much you're adding. Also, taste your foods first before adding salt. You might not need it in the first place.
When I was on dialysis, everything was a balancing act, and nutrition and fluid intake is such a big part of this. It's amazing what doctors can do. It's amazing what my body could do, but I had to do my part.
Just as important as everything else is your fluid intake. Most dialysis patients need to limit their fluid intake to 32 ounces a day. And you need to find ways to manage your thirst. Your dietitian can help you find creative ways to do this with treats like sugar-free hard candy, frozen grapes, and iced chips. This will help you avoid drinking too much fluid between dialysis treatments. Balancing your intake of phosphates, potassium, protein, salt, and fluids isn't easy to figure out at first. So lean on your dietitian to coach you and help develop the best plan for you and your health conditions.
Diet and nutrition was a huge part of taking care of myself during dialysis, and I've now had my kidney for 22 years. I have a new perspective on life because I understand what it takes to live your best life on dialysis.
The Alabama Kidney Foundation is here to assist Alabama's kidney patients. We have a 45-year history of improving prevention awareness and the individual quality of life of Alabamians affected by kidney disease.